One of the reasons I've been bullish on Zillow stock is because I think we're moving to a world where we're going to have much more of a winner take all market in real estate. Now, this doesn't mean that brokers are going to go away. It doesn't mean that everything about real estate is going to move to a company like Zillow. But there are advantages to having scale and national scale, whether you're talking about where assets are located, or rentals or homes, and also technology as well. And this is the big piece that I've been thinking about with not only Zillow, but also Costar, which is its biggest competitor, and its acquisition of Matterport. The $1.6 billion acquisition of Matterport is supposed to close later this year. Shares are still about $1 below that closing price. So while I'm looking at Zillow stock, one of the things that I have in my mind is this Matterport deal going to close as expected? And one of the reasons I think it is because it has to. Costar has to be able to keep up with Zillow. I'm going to explain exactly why by going through the company's showcase product. And this is part of its housing super app strategy. I'll cover that a little bit first and then get into this showcase product. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. So let's start with a quick overview of what in the world Zillow is building. Zillow wants to have a housing super app is what they call it. I'm going to start with the rental side because I'm going to focus mostly here on the home side. But rentals, this means that if you're a mover or a property manager, those are the two sides of the two-sided market Zillow sits in the middle of. Mover, you're trying to search for properties. Property manager, you're trying to list those properties and find people searching for properties. When are we going to do a tour? Well, they have an application for that. How are you going to apply? How are you going to do screening? How do you sign a lease? Even pay your lease each month. All of these things can happen on a platform like Zillow on the rental side. On the housing side, things are much more complicated because there's a whole bunch of infrastructure that needs to be built to do things like closing in each jurisdiction, doing title searches and all the small things that happen. If you purchased a house, you know that there's a bunch of little things that need to happen. If that's all going to happen on something like Zillow's platform, all that needs to be built out. But right now, where I think we need to focus with Zillow is in these early phases. So finding homes, so building out Zillow to be the go-to place if you're searching, and also the go-to place to list homes if you're an agent, and also do tours. So that's what I'm going to focus on here today. But all the rest of these pieces, messaging, how are we going to make an offer? When are we going to do a tour? I have questions about the house. Doing the actual offer itself, getting pre-approval so that you know who's coming into the house, what they're actually approved for, and then all the way to selling and then signing and then selling ancillary services that Zillow could potentially do as well. But let's focus on this search piece because this is ultimately where the business begins for Zillow. And what's really advanced for Zillow over the past couple of years is their 3D home and interactive floor plans. I'm going to go through one of their showcase homes in just a second, but with a iPhone or a 360 camera, you can capture all of these images. This is very similar to how Matterport works, and then it will build out the home for you. It will do the floor plan. If you searched for a home before a couple of years ago, you know that going through images, it's very confusing. Where am I in the house right now? How far are you from the wall when you're taking this image? What's the space that I have to walk in a hallway or between an island and the countertop? There's a ton of questions that weren't answered by traditional photographs. So Matterport answered some of those questions, but Zillow created its own product instead of buying a company like Matterport, and they do that with what they call Showcase. I just searched for homes in the Austin, Texas area. This is the first one that popped up that is a Showcase home. In these Showcase homes, you can go through photos just like you normally would. Or when you get down to this section right here, there's a 3D home tour, but there's also a floor plan tour. And I think this is what's really interesting for Zillow. This will automatically be made. So if you're the agent and you take all these images, all of this information will be built out for you, but you can go and walk through a home. So I'm going to enter the foyer. I'm going to look around this space. We can go all throughout the first floor. This is just down the hall. And you can see on the right here, it's actually showing you where you're looking. So there you see the front door. Here's a little hallway with a couple of rooms. Let's go back to this main room, full panoramic view here. And this is a full 360 view, a lot like what you would get with Matterport. You can go up to the second floor, look through each of these rooms. So all of these things are available in most of these homes. You can even look at what this floor plan looks like on the map. So you can actually see what it looks like compared to where neighbors would be. Homes.com is Costar's property, and they say that the data behind listings that actually include a Matterport creates a lot more engagement on their platform. That's why they're buying Matterport. So they're both moving in the same directions. The difference is Zillow's building these things internally. Homes.com and Apartments.com, which are both owned by Costar, are acquiring it through Matterport. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So why is this important? If you're a listing agent, I think these kind of technologies are going to become table stakes for listing a home. When I go look for a home today, I expect there to be really good images. I expect there potentially to be drone shots. I expect there to be a floor plan. I expect to know a lot about the property before I even decide to contact and visit the home in the first place. So when that kind of technology becomes table stakes, you have to have that technology to compete in the market. The bifurcated structure that the real estate industry is in today gives an advantage to the companies that have scale. Now, Zillow, I think, is clearly the biggest player in sort of this platform space when you look at it versus a company like Costar, but they're both taking similar strategies saying, hey, if you're going to list a listing and put it on our properties and put it on our platforms, you need to have these basic tools. And then if you're including a Matterport or these 3D tours like Zillow is building, if you're listing on your own site, so let's say you're a local real estate broker, you probably have your own website. That's not a national database, but it's maybe one that's popular locally. You're going to just put those assets on your own site as well. So now this technology that's being built isn't just used within the Zillow platform or even within the Costar platform. It's being used outside of it as well. That ultimately is going to give more value and more credence to these platform companies. And I think that's ultimately where the industry is going. The trend in technology, and I've talked about this a lot on this channel, is that the smiling curve ultimately wins. And you either are a company that has scale in the market or you are a very, very niche player. And I think what we're seeing is that the two companies that are building scale in real estate today are Zillow and Costar. Those are the two potential winners that could build a platform that could be the place that you go to find a home, to schedule a tour, to make an offer, to get pre-approved for a loan. All of these things that have always been disparate tools in the ecosystem could all be done in one place, but you have to have the technology to be able to do it. And it's these little differentiators, like these 3D home tours, like being able to build a floor plan that's extremely valuable for every home seeker, but just wasn't available 5 or 10 years ago. That is now available with the devices that are in every agent's pocket. And I think that's going to ultimately become a differentiator. It's going to become table stakes, but not every company and not every technology platform is going to be able to do that. So you have the two players that are going to be able to, so you have the two companies that have those tools, Costar, if they close the deal with Matterport, and then Zillow with its own in-house development. That gives them a lot more power to become the platform companies in real estate. So that's one of the reasons that I continue to be bullish on Matterport. My shares would ultimately convert into Costar shares. And then I've also been acquiring shares of Zillow as well, because I think this is the best positioned company to build a single platform, one brand, one app, whether you're renting or you're buying a home. If you could do all of those purchasing things on the Zillow app, I think that would be a huge win for everybody, including home buyers and home sellers. So that's one of the reasons I'm really bullish on Zillow. I think building these kinds of tools and adding showcase capabilities to more and more listings is going to be really valuable. But let me know what you think of Zillow stock. Leave your comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.